Hey, how you doing? This is Adam Post, publisher of more than 1,000 comic books and marketing expert covering woke Hollywood panics brings back billion-dollar directors. Let's get into the story. Before we do, please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate you guys. Disney has rescued their Pixar brand by going back to making normal Pixar movies. Inside Out 2 was a huge hit, and I've been covering this in my videos, explaining that, yeah, they understand at this point people don't want to watch their ideology-soaked, ridiculous movies that destroy existing brands and try to push an agenda. They made it clear with Pixar that, yes, they know how to make a decent Pixar movie, and now they're trying to make it clear that they can have a future for Marvel. The new Deadpool and Wolverine movie coming out will certainly do a lot better than the last Marvel movie, a total failure at $206 million worldwide, and a massive financial loss. But keep in mind, these companies always knew how to make good movies, what we think are good movies, or at least commercially acceptable movies that are consistent with what you expect when you go see a Pixar movie, or you go see a Marvel movie, or you go see a Star Wars movie. They certainly haven't made any good moves about saving Star Wars yet. That still looks like they haven't figured out how to pull that one off. But with Marvel, they're going to get back to as close to where they were as possible, at least to suggest that they haven't destroyed the biggest film franchise that ever existed. We've seen multiple reports that, yes, the directors of the Avengers films for Marvel are likely to come back and do new movies for Marvel, which definitely puts them in a position that you can expect it could be $1 billion plus movie again, which of course is where Disney wants their Marvel brand to be. I wouldn't expect to see a sequel for the Marvels or Ms. Marvel anytime soon. That doesn't mean go support Disney. That doesn't mean go watch their movies. It just means they're going to get away from the ideology somewhat. And if you enjoy it, great. But there's no reason to support or trust the company if you don't like the company. From The Hollywood Reporter, Marvel shocker. Russo brothers in talks to direct next 2 Avengers movies. Just when you and the Russos themselves, quite frankly, thought they were out, Kevin Feige is pulling them back in. And why not pull them back in? Their last Avengers movie, Avengers Endgame, did $2.7 billion worldwide. That's a really profitable movie. Compare that with the Marvels that did $206 million worldwide. When the big conversation about the Marvels was this. From BuzzFeed, Nia DaCosta opens up about dealing with racist Marvel fans and rising above the haters. I guess they want those racist fans back that actually watch the movies and don't care about people's skin color. They just want to go and be entertained. They're not interested in getting involved with other people's ideologies. Disney even slammed Nia DaCosta. Coming from Yahoo Tech and Gizmodo. Damn, what does Disney have against Nia DaCosta? What Disney has against Nia DaCosta is that she single-handedly, because she never should have been writing and directing anything associated with Marvel whatsoever, even though she claims, and probably it's true, she likes the Marvel universe, she likes Marvel characters. That's all well and good and fine. It doesn't mean you understand how to convey the brand properly. And she didn't. And the problem that Disney had was that they had a multi-billion-dollar brand that everyone said, look, it's dead now until they do something really good. Any brand can sort of come back from the dead, at least at some level, and have some success if you produce things that are on brand, rather than produce things that are off brand and trying to suck the life out of the brand to put it into your ideology. And from IndieWire, the Russo brothers in talks to direct next 2 Avengers movies. The duo previously directed 4 Marvel films, including Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. Anyone who is going to try to rescue this brand, anyone who wanted Marvel to be doing billion-dollar movies every time they release a movie again, or at least close to that, would certainly be willing to get these 2 directors involved, pay them whatever it is they seem like they need to get, and then focus everything you're doing in terms of developing multiple movie titles, any additional TV shows, around what they're trying to do with the Avengers. If they bring in Avengers that are far off brand, that are Ms. Marvel, Captain Marvel, new female superheroes, and they do a lot with that and not just keep it in the background, where it's annoying, but it's not the main story. Annoying seems to work just okay. They can still make money and be annoying, but they can't make money when they are the central focus of the film project. I would expect them to do annoying things like they used to do and not try to jump the shark again and push their annoying elements right in the front and take out anything that you might have enjoyed or liked. With Inside Out 2 doing $1.3 billion worldwide so far, it's very likely a good Avengers movie could do $1.5 billion. Maybe even more than that. And clearly that's why they're talking to these guys. Marvel's lengthy search for the directors of its next 2 Avengers movies might have finally reached its endgame. Get it? Endgame? The Hollywood Reporter and Variety say that Joe and Anthony Russo have entered talks with the studio to direct the next 2 films in the franchise. Marvel had previously announced that the studio's Phase 6 slate of films would end with the movies Avengers: The Kang Dynasty in 2026 and Avengers: Secret Wars in 2027. The former film was supposed to focus on Jonathan Majors' villainous character Kang the Conqueror, who appeared in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania and 5 episodes of Loki, and was being positioned as the primary antagonist in subsequent story arcs. But that just wasn't meant to be. Marvel parted ways with Majors following the guilty verdict in his assault and harassment trial in December 2023, but has yet to comment on whether the role will be recast or if the next Avengers film will still be titled The Kang Dynasty. It probably will not be titled The Kang Dynasty because of the association with Jonathan Majors. They have enough of their own problems, having had Nia DaCosta do the Marvels. It would be completely ridiculous to do the Kang Dynasty again, and you could easily see the Russo brothers saying, look, we'll get involved, but we're not looking to recast people and throw people out of the franchise. Just let us kind of do our thing, make you guys a ton of money, and revive the brand. They don't need any additional controversies, not one fraction of one additional controversy. They've already done enough damage to the Marvel brand. And from a story standpoint, there's really no reason you'd have to mess with trying to recast Kang. Just kind of put Kang aside. Maybe Jonathan Majors comes back in 10 years and everybody forgot what he did. But you don't need Kang as some major villain, and Kang was never going to equate to Thanos anyway. What they need is another Thanos. In my study of writing for my upcoming comics projects, Aaron Sorkin is in a few great interviews talking about his writing skills. He wrote A Few Good Men. And in addition to A Few Good Men, he's written many other projects. He's an excellent writer. Aaron Sorkin explains when he's writing the antagonist, he's writing the villain for A Few Good Men, played by Jack Nicholson, that got a Marine killed on his base. Aaron Sorkin explains it's important to have your antagonist making their case to God why they should get into heaven. So Jack Nicholson's character as a villain did get someone killed, but he believed it was worth it to maintain order and to protect their military base. Similarly, Thanos made a pretty compelling case in Avengers, saying that the universe was too populated. And a meme went around pretty much everywhere saying that Thanos was right. Thanos was not right. We shouldn't do what Thanos did. But what was compelling was you could see a villain who really believed in what it was they were trying to do, fighting against heroes that didn't agree with what he was trying to do. A great natural conflict for writing. The Russo brothers helped pull that off for Thanos. If they properly developed their script and the story, it could be a great movie. At least it could be well done. The Kang Dynasty was originally set to be directed by Destin Daniel Cretton, who departed the project in late 2023 and subsequently signed on to direct the live-action Naruto movie for Lionsgate. But whatever creative direction the studio takes, the 2 Avengers films could end up being in the hands of 2 of its most reliable filmmakers. The Russo brothers, primarily known for directing TV episodes at the time, made their Marvel debut directing the 2014 hit Captain America: The Winter Soldier. They returned to direct 3 of the biggest films in the franchise's history: 2016's Captain America: Civil War, 2018's Avengers: Infinity War, and 2019's Avengers: Endgame. The record-breaking Endgame served as a final curtain call for many beloved Marvel characters and served as a franchise reset that prompted Marvel to shift its focus to newer characters. Like Captain Marvel, for example. That didn't work out so well. The Russos also saw it as a natural break with Marvel, though they did not rule out returning to the MCU down the road. Well, we're always talking. We need to see what would work, Joe Russo said in a 2022 interview with Variety. We won't be ready to do anything with Marvel until the end of the decade. The end of the decade, though, is probably coming sooner, because Marvel needs these guys back on the projects. And Disney needs these guys back in at Marvel. In the 5 years since Endgame, the Russos have directed the Tom Holland-led film Cherry for Apple and the Ryan Gosling tentpole The Gray Man for Netflix. They also launched the independent studio ABGO, through which they produce shows like Amazon Citadel and announced plans to develop new AI technologies. My Thanos picture on my thumbnail was made with AI. I'm playing around with it now. Marvel's theatrical and streaming output has yielded mixed results since Endgame, while films like Spider-Man No Way Home and Black Panther Wakanda Forever show that there's still a large audience for superhero movies, with this month's Deadpool and Wolverine expected to do huge business as well. Critical and commercial flops such as 2023's The Marvels have prompted many to speculate that the brand has lost its once ironclad grip on popular culture. If Marvel wants to turn its next two Avengers movies into massive cultural events that rival the last two, it's not hard to see why Kevin Feige would turn to the men who directed them. In the meantime, Hollywood is still in serious trouble, especially right now at Warner Bros. Discovery. From the New York Post, Warner Bros. Discovery to lay off nearly 1,000 staffers amid calls from analysts to explore strategic options. Strategic options would be splitting up the company, selling part of the company. The trouble that Warner Bros. Discovery got into was they really paid too much for the Warner Bros. Studio. They didn't really have much choice. It was kind of part of their plan. They didn't really write a check, but they agreed to take on debts to combine what they had with their Discovery company, which had just mostly a lot of cable channels, with the Warner Brothers studio that has the entire DC universe, but a whole movie studio and lots of cable channels, plenty of assets. But in exchange for that, they did take on a massive amount of debt. They knew they were taking on a lot of debt. It's not like they just discovered, oh my God, we have all this debt. But they never expected interest rates to go so high as they did. They haven't been this high in decades. And when you have a lot of debt and interest rates are going high and the economy isn't doing all that great and the streaming business is still not figured out, only Netflix really has it figured out, honestly, then sure, when you pay a lot for something and you have a lot more debt than you thought you would have to pay back, and the cable industry is still falling apart. They're losing a lot of advertising, a lot of cable subscribers. That's not something you can control when the industry shifts like that. In comic books, we lost newsstand sales. Newsstand sales used to be a huge part of the comic book business, for example, but technology changed. Distribution changed. It wasn't relevant anymore. So for the companies that were focused on newsstand distribution, they got really hurt badly by that. Fortunately, a lot of independent companies didn't go on newsstands. We did a little bit of it, but the independent companies that did go on newsstands, like a company called Kamiko, and another one was called First Comics, the companies that did that did lose a lot of money. It did tend to put them out of business. When distribution changes, a business can be threatened. And this is really tough on Warner Bros. Discovery. Warner Bros. Discovery is reportedly slashing 1,000 jobs as the struggling media giant faces calls to sell off assets that include ratings challenge CNN. The layoffs, which began earlier this month, will hit the finance, business affairs, and production departments and at streaming provider Max, according to the entertainment news site Deadline. The cuts come during a chaotic period for the David Zaslav-led entertainment company, which last week announced that CNN will chop 100 jobs under a major restructuring by new boss Mark Thompson. And that concept at CNN is good. They're centralizing their news gathering so that they don't have duplicated efforts in all the different countries they operate in and all the different markets they operate in. When national and international news happens, why should you collect it in multiple places and have all those extra expenses? It makes sense. They're going to be more and more aggressive with cuts at Warner Bros. Discovery. It is something they know how to do very well. It wasn't just when they acquired Warner Brothers and merged their Discovery company with Warner Brothers. They had just gone through some $15-16 billion merger with a company called Scripps that also had cable channels just a couple of years ago. They're actually very good at firing people. We'll see a lot more of firing people. You have to wonder, do you guys really have an extra 1,000 people hanging around you could kind of just get rid of and it's not a big deal? You can still do everything you used to do before those 1,000 people got fired? If so, fire more people. You're going to have to do it if you're going to pay off your debt. Let me know what you think of all this in the comments below. Always love to see your ideas. Please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again soon with another story. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.